Hi, Peter. How are you?
Hey Max, how are you, brother?
I'm very good. So congratulations on the show. Your performance as King During the Third is incredible.
Thanks, brother. Very kind of you.
So were you familiar with the world of Lord of the Rings before you signed on the project?
No. I'd seen the first film, the Peter Jackson one, and I liked that. Then I saw some of the next one, and I didn't do it for me. And then I kind of gave up on it. I didn't watch The Hobbit. Haven't read the books, so no, not very familiar at all. And I'm
So,
none the wiser. Haven't done the TV show.
so what specifically drew you into playing King During the Third?
A trip to New Zealand. They said, come down to New Zealand and join us. And I was told there wouldn't be a lot of makeup involved. That's what they said. Can you believe that? They said, oh, we're not going to do a lot of prosthetics. They did all that on The Hobbit. We're not going down that road. Yeah, cut to me in a chair at 3:30 in the morning, being assaulted for 4 hours. So yeah, that was a bit of a shock.
So you had a chance to work with Owain Arthur, who plays Durin the Fourth in the show. Can you discuss your collaboration with him in painting this sort of very complex father and son relationship?
Owain, working with Owain was the highlight for me. I'd never worked with Owain before. I didn't know Owain. And when I got down to New Zealand, I was in quarantine for 2 weeks, and as we all were. And I got lovely messages from him saying, let's meet up, anything I can do for you, all that kind of stuff. And so when I got out of quarantine, him and I met up, and he was such a sweetheart and such a lovely guy. And he was terrified about whether I would like a Scottish accent or not, because Owain's Welsh. And originally he was told his part would be with a Welsh accent, then it changed to a Scottish accent. And so him and I bonded right away, which was just as well, because he was allowed to read all the scripts. I wasn't. I only get the scenes that I do. I'm not allowed to read the scripts. Why? I have no idea. You'll need to ask the gods in Amazon. Why wouldn't you give them a script? Maybe they don't trust me. So I was wholly dependent on Owain and then the beautiful Sophia. I was completely dependent upon them as to where we were in this world. So basically, I just winged it every time we had a scene to do. I just pressed a button and hope we didn't all explode.
Well, how challenging is it to just read your scenes to build that sort of relationship?
Luckily for the gods of Amazon, I don't give a monkeys. So I'm used to doing in the art house world, which is kind of more where I work. In the art house world, we're used to things being thrown at us and improvising and all that sort of stuff, and not being in the moment and not necessarily having the larger context. So luckily for the gods of Amazon, it didn't bother me. For a lot of other actors, quite rightly, they would be none too happy, and I think they would let it be known, and they would kick up a big fuss, and people would have to talk to them a lot and maybe even give them the full scripts. I didn't kick up because I didn't care, so it was of no interest to me. So all I cared about is when Owain and me and Sophia, once we started acting together, that's all I cared about.
So can you talk about a little bit about the scene where Durin the Third strips his son of his royal duties? It's a very pivotal moment in the show, in the seventh episode, because it's, it really complexifies that father-son relationship.
Yeah, I mean, that was an easy scene to do because it was nicely written. We didn't have to make any major changes, a couple of words here and there, and it took care of itself. So that was an easy one to do because Owain and I had already established a nice working relationship. And with a nice working relationship, you can do anything if you can trust one another. Because some actors mistakenly think that if you've got a scene when you have to be unpleasant to someone, you should be unpleasant off camera, which is, apart from being infantile, is utterly insane, because what you want to happen doesn't happen. Because the whole point is, if you're playing the put upon person, if you're confident that the other person's just acting, then you'll be put upon, you'll be repressed, you'll be victimized. If, on the other hand, somebody's treated you really badly off camera because they thought that's the thing to do, you'll resist. So you're not going to look as put upon as you should. So in other words, the power relationship is completely skewed because you've been a dickhead off camera to your fellow actor. So Owain and I didn't have any of that kind of problem. So we completely trusted one another. So when you do a scene like that between father and son, when one's being unkind or dominant of another, if you trust one another completely, then that's so easy to play. It's ridiculous. If it's nicely written, which it was, I mean, it's bread and butter for any actor. It's no big deal if you trust one another.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm curious to know how expansive were the Casa Doom sets. Like, what was your initial reaction when you saw those sets come to life and act in that environment?
It's the same. It's always the same when you do these things. The size of the set and stuff. It's always intimidating when you first go on. No actor on earth thinks he or she can fill these places. They're too big. They're too large. So what you have to do is bring it down to your level. So you have to basically kind of ignore it. So it has to be about what you're holding, what you're carrying. You don't want to take too much of that in until it's character appropriate. Like if you're playing someone who's in awe of their surroundings or is blasé about their surroundings, then then you play that in the moment. But as an actor, when you see the size of those sets and the costumes and the supporting actors, it's tricky. So another reason why you have to get a relationship with your fellow actors is like a little circus troupe. You gather around and you try and forget that the trapeze has no safety net and that you're all going to be swinging pretty shortly, and you hope to God you're all going to catch one another, because it can be intimidating.
So it was really great talking to you today, Peter, on the show. Congratulations once again. Your performance is just absolutely stunning.
Thanks, bro. It's very kind of you.
So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and good luck on your future projects.
You too, man. Have a great one.
Thank you.